It's a yearly event here in Nebraska that takes place nowhere else in the world. An animal that lures tourists from all over across the state and all over the country here for a month-long ritual that's vital to their survival. I'm Jamie Schmitz.
And I'm Jared Kennedy. Tonight we'll introduce you to a man who was forced to make a migration of his own. Where he's from and what brought him to the Omaha Metro. These stories and more right here on the Omaha News.
This is the Omaha News, presented by the School of Communication at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, from the studios of UNO Television.
The largest crane migration in the world is happening just over 100 miles west of Omaha. Maren Krause was lucky enough to catch a glimpse and joins us from our newsroom.
Thanks, Jared. Each year, Nebraska is host to an event that happens nowhere else on the planet. And with the amount of tourists it draws in, local economies can benefit up to $30 million. Most people consider Nebraska to be a flyover state, but there's one animal who's taking this cliche seriously. Every spring, more than 500,000 sandhill cranes make their way to the Platte River Basin. Here they feed on waste grain before continuing their journey up north. And the cranes aren't the only ones flocking to the state this time of year.
People come from those exotic places like Bangladesh and India and to exotic Nebraska to see a once-in-a-lifetime event for a lot of them.
Bill Tadikin is the current director of the Ian Nicholson Center at the Audubon Row Sanctuary, which was established in 1974. Today, the center holds tours during March and April. The tours allow visitors to enter wooden structures called viewing blinds to get up close and personal to where the cranes roost on the river. But what they see from the blinds isn't natural.
This is what they're seeing, and from our blinds is not typical of a healthy river. This is, our part of the river looks really good, but huge stretches of this river are degraded and have no use from cranes.
And luckily, visitors who will have the power to protect the crane habitat in the future are fully aware of that.
I think that people seeing the cranes, I hope that it'll inspire them to take better care of nature and the rivers, because that's something that the cranes need to survive, and many other species as well.
This year, the sandhill cranes arrived to the Platte River earlier than usual. Blind tours are going on now at Rowe Sanctuary until April 10th. Back to you.
Thanks, Maren. Tuesday night captivated the nation as we watched to see another result of Super Tuesday. In the GOP, Donald Trump won Florida, North Carolina, Missouri, and Illinois. Governor John Kasich took his home state of Ohio. In the Democratic primaries, Hillary Clinton won all the states but almost lost Missouri to Senator Bernie Sanders. Republican Senator Marco Rubio lost in his home state of Florida last night and has since decided to suspend his presidential campaign.
President Obama announced today that he is nominating federal appeals court judge Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court. Widely seen as a moderate, 63-year-old Garland has spent 2 decades on the bench and also oversaw the Oklahoma City bombing as well as the Unabomber terror cases. President Obama praises Garland's track record as a thoughtful, fair-minded jurist whose centrist bent has in the past appealed to congressional Republicans.
On March 21st and 22nd, the President and the First Lady will travel to Cuba, marking the first time in nearly 90 years a sitting president has visited that country. Matt Barrows reports President Obama will meet with Raul Castro as Cuban entrepreneurs, furthering his commitment to normalizing relations, travel, and commerce between the two countries.
This week, the attention of the nation and the world turns toward the president as he attempts to renew the ties between the United States and Cuba. Also paying attention to this monumental visit is a UNO professor who provides a link from Cuba to Omaha.
My beautiful island, Havana, right here.
Currently in his 23rd year teaching at UNO, Gerardo Machado was born in Havana on September 25, 1931. After high school, Machado followed his family's desire for him to become a doctor. But 3 years later, he changed course.
I wanted to be in the military because I felt like it was a tradition in my family. My great uncle that happened to be at one time the 5th president of the country. He was in the army, he was a general. My dad was an officer in the army, so I thought that I should be going in the same route.
This new route would ultimately lead Machado from the military academy into the mountainous regions of Cuba as a guerrilla fighter for Fulgencio Batista, hunting Fidel Castro.
Fidel Castro was lucky enough to have a person who lived in that area. His name was Crescencio Perez, and he became the guy of Fidel. He made move Fidel from one place to the other one very safe.
Although Machado fled Cuba in 1959 with his family, he's never taken his eyes off his homeland.
This is where the entrance to the harbor, where Che loved to do his killing. That was his cemetery in reality. Mm-hmm.
Through the articulation of his life stories, Professor Machado imparts far more on his students than just a foreign language.
Being taught by someone who has that much experience and such different experience gives you a variety of perspectives, not only in the classroom, but on life itself.
For the Omaha News, I'm Matt Barrows.
Machado also expressed deep sadness because of the destruction communism has brought to the Cuban people and the country's infrastructure. But he's also very skeptical of the president's motives, saying this could be more about boosting his own legacy than lifting up the people of Cuba.
When we come back, a staple in one Omaha neighborhood is in the works for a facelift. We'll join Avery Wank live for new plans regarding the Dundee Sunks.
And the fate of a historical Omaha landmark has been delayed yet again. What's keeping the Civic Auditorium standing and when the plans will move forward.
Create, innovate, discover. Coneco UNO Library, where scholar meets creative. Located in downtown Omaha, Coneco Library is designed to bridge education and creation. For students and community members alike, both loud in expression and quiet in nature, encouraging forward thinkers to collaborate in a beautiful space of creative scholarly consciousness. Coneco UNO Library, open space for your mind where momentum is accomplished.
I knew as a music teacher that there were festivals for piano students and that type of thing going up, but there was no real public recognition of children's achievements in music until they got to be in high school.
I was embarrassed because I was in middle school, but it was interesting because I didn't think I was good at that point because, you know, you're middle school, you're just, you could be best in the orchestra, but you're not sure.
I just remember the joy and the giddiness that these students had. They loved coming to the station and having a tour of the station, and it really meant a lot to them to actually have an interview at this radio station, and they were all so excited and so passionate about music.
When I became a classical kid, I got to go to the Gil Shaham concert at the Jazz and Art Museum, and that concert completely changed my life. Being a classical kid really changed the thought of, could I do music professionally? It was really nice winning something like that. It was pretty good.
The Classical Kids idea was one that stuck because KVNO is all about classical music. It was perfect.
You're watching the Omaha News.
The Dundee Sunks has been a longtime place for neighborhood residents to go and enjoy some fresh air, play football, or even ice skate. Now it could be in line for a nice makeover. Our Avery Wink is live in Dundee to show us what some residents are doing to make that dream a reality.
Thanks, Jamie. The Sunks here in Dundee has served as a green space for neighborhood kids to come and play for decades, but not all of the space has always been properly utilized. Now, the neighborhood has a plan to fix that. Looking at it now, the Dundee Sunks may not look like a place with much appeal for children to go play, but in a few weeks, this brown lifeless area will be swarmed with kids looking to spend their nights and weekends playing in the space. The aesthetics of the Sunks have long been in question, and now Mark Dwyer is looking to do something about it. He says the vision took shape about a year ago.
Sort of laid out our vision of what this garden should be. And in talking to the neighbors and growing up there, where people play football, where the ice skating rink is, that was kind of off limits, right? I mean, that's pretty sacred ground.
The Sunks is short for Sunken Gardens, and Dwyer says that neighborhood association members had one concern when this proposal was made, that this area behind me and the hockey rink area not be touched. He says they will remain as they are.
So we decided we're going to focus on the middle portion of the Sunks. If you look at it in thirds, you've got the football being the south third, the sledding being the north third, and then the center section where this is all going to take place.
Dundee resident Nick Rieselman says that it is a good idea to only renovate the middle of the Sunks.
Yeah, I think the gazebo and like the flowers will look very nice down there since it's kind of just a space that has nothing in it essentially right now.
One of the main concerns now will be the lack of parking around the area, but Dwyer says that there are plans in place to park share.
Thanks, Avery. Motorists driving east from downtown Omaha may see a changing interstate interchange as the next decade dawns. The Iowa Department of Transportation is in the process of planning a motorized and revamped I-480, I-29 West Broadway interchange as part of the reconstruction of the Council Bluffs interstate system. Officials hope to begin work in 2020 and have the project finished by 2024. Other plans and alternatives for this project will be discussed at a meeting taking place March 24th from 5 to 7 p.m. in the Council Bluffs Interstate Systems Improvement Programs office in Mall of the Bluffs.
The Civic Auditorium is a historic landmark in Omaha, which will remain standing for the time being. Our reporter Justin Eidelman shows us why there has been a delay in the demolition process.
The City of Omaha's plan for the demolition project on the Civic Auditorium has been delayed once again. Work that had barely started on the Civic must come to a halt. Omaha's City Attorney Paul Kratz says the project has been delayed due to the company De Novo and their financial situation.
About 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were notified by the surety company for De Novo, who was the demolition contractor, that they had stopped doing business.
De Novo was the construction company hired by the City of Omaha to complete the demolition process of the Civic. But City Councilman Franklin Thompson says he knew from the beginning De Novo just wasn't the right choice.
De Novo had a lot of financial problems and a lot of suits against them. So once I heard that, it didn't feel right. It just didn't pass the smell test.
With the Civic still standing like it has been since 1954, the City of Omaha has another issue, which is now timing. After another possible 1 to 2 years when the Civic will finally be torn down, Kratz says they have big plans for what will be replacing the historic auditorium.
We have selected a development company called Tetrad to develop a multi-use area there, which would include apartments, offices, parking, maybe a public building, a number of different type of buildings.
For the Omaha News, I'm Justin Eidelman.
The Civic Auditorium will remain vacant and work will not be done until the City of Omaha finds another demolition contractor to complete the job.
And when we come back, how one Lincoln senator is fighting to save the face of those scarred by sexual abuse with the help of a new proposed bill.
Plus, it was a great experience for Metro kids interested in performing arts, how the Omaha Film Festival was able to get city youth involved.
Just recently, MAV Radio has won several awards, both from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association as well as the Broadcast Education Association. And I think it just is proof that our students are doing work that is equivalent, if not surpassing, other students around the nation. So I'm really proud of where we've come, and I can't wait to see where we're going.
Watch ICU Learning English on the Knowledge Network.
A little bit about how you're feeling right now.
one thing you would like our viewers to know about this state?
The importance of volunteerism.
What are you saying to folks?
I'm here to discuss these images.
When you can take that knowledge and that expertise and that passion in terms that they're all going to understand.
They need to know the real stories.
I'm Kathy Wyatt. Join us for Consider This each week on NET1.
NET Television expands your mind, enlightens your mind, inspires your mind, educates your mind, entertains your mind. NET Television opens up new worlds to you. Explore, travel, learn, discuss, debate. NET Television keeps you informed. Music, theater, dance, art, news. NET Television awakens your dreams, seeks to serve, strengthens our communities. We are Nebraskans. We are NET Television, Nebraska's PBS station.
You've always known you were a leader, someone who works hard to achieve your goals. You can see it. You can see your success in front of you. You pursue a college education for the old-fashioned reasons, to learn, to make yourself more valuable, to succeed. You need a place that celebrates your ambition and positions you alongside visionary people just like you. You, my friend, belong here, the University of Nebraska at Omaha.
You're watching the Omaha News.
As much as 68% of the approximate 293,000 sexual assaults occurring annually throughout the United States go unreported. One of the causes of survivors not reporting is fear of paying for medical treatment or being denied by their insurance. Reporter Waverly Monroe shows us how one Lincoln senator is making it so no survivor has the fear of paying for an exam once again.
Lincoln Senator Adam Moorfeld says the legislative bill 1097 would change the way forensic exams for sexual assaults are paid for.
It would create a grant program, a fund, essentially, so that people who have been sexually assaulted can get high quality care across the state, and the hospitals that are giving that care can be reimbursed for that.
As of right now, a lot of the financial responsibilities vary statewide, and law enforcement agencies are tasked with taking care of the medical expenses. Executive Director of Voices for Hope in Lincoln, Marcy Metzer, says that the system that is in place is budgeted through the county's law enforcement agencies.
Is to be paid for by the Lincoln Police Department or the Lancaster Sheriff's Department, and so they're not supposed to be getting one of those bills, but they still do sometimes fall through.
Some smaller law enforcement agencies in Nebraska don't have the extra money in their budgets to cover forensic exam costs. Rural Nebraska often lacks the much-needed healthcare and budget when it comes to sexual assault. This bill would allow that more facilities would be able to provide the important health care without being put in a financial bind. The Women's Center for Advancement's Marketing and Public Relations Director, Elizabeth Power, says that this would help out young survivors who are still on their family's insurance plans.
They maybe don't want their parents to know that this happened, but now it's going to show up on their insurance, and their parents will more than likely see it.
For the Omaha News, I'm Waverly Monroe.
Another section of LB 1097 is that it will train more nurses to be certified in dealing with sexual assaults of men and women. SANE nurses or sexual assault nurse examiners have special mental and physical training on how to handle survivors of sexual assault. This bill would also place a SANE nurse coordinator at the Attorney General's office to oversee all SANE nurses of Nebraska.
Council Bluffs police arrested a man accused of kidnapping and attempted sexual abuse. Police say 32-year-old DeCarlos Jackson forced 40-year-old Jennifer Holmes into his car outside of a gas station in Council Bluffs, and that's when Jackson wanted Holmes to perform sexual acts, but she refused. He locked her in the car and went into the gas station. When he came back out, he pressed the unlock button, and that's when she ran away. Jackson drove off but was arrested just a few blocks away. He's being charged with third-degree kidnapping and assault with the intent to commit sexual abuse.
The Omaha Film Festival rolled through Omaha last weekend, but there was something new and different about it this year. Alexander Abler traveled out to Village Point to see how the festival is getting its young people involved.
The Omaha Film Festival has been a staple in Omaha for years. This year, though, they are reaching out to the honor community. With so many fine arts programs in Nebraska and Kansas getting cut, the Off Academy is the mission that started by getting low-income kids with no outlet into the fine arts. Jason Levering, executive director of the Omaha Film Festival, says it's important for these kids to get involved.
How to write a screenplay, how to become an actor. I think that it is important to get this kind of education early.
Elizabeth Zellner, the Off Academy coordinator, says that this program and these workshops mean so much to these students.
A few years ago, I had a student come to the film festival, and they saw a film, and when they came out of the film, the student came up to me and said, "I didn't know that people were nice. I didn't know that people were good," because that student didn't have the kind of home life that showed him good things.
This year's Omaha Film Festival is located at Marcus Village Point Theater. The goal is to have everything centrally located so the students don't miss a thing. Zellner says that these movies and workshops impact kids more than anyone knows.
I don't know what part of that will speak to a student or how it will inspire them, but it will. So, and we may not understand where it comes from or when it's going to happen, but if it can help them get through something, if they can get through something that's hard that they're going through right now, that matters.
For the Omaha News, I'm Alex Abler.
The Off Academy was granted about $5,000 in scholarships so the students who had their programs cut can still enjoy the fine arts and get this experience for free or little cost.
And still to come, if you're looking to get the family up and out this summer, then we have a great story for you. How Nebraska is inviting tourists to get out and see the state's rich culture.
Plus, it's that time of year again. Are you ready for this season's severe weather? When we come back, we talk tornado preparedness and how to come up with a plan.
UNO TV invites you to take a journey around the world, to lush jungles with endangered species, to exotic lands and different cultures, to lost cities beneath the sands. Travel through time to see ancient secrets on the other side of the world, the growth of the American West, or the start of Nebraska's largest city. Or just explore our state. Find out about Nebraska in World War II. Learn how Omaha has grown since. Discover the effort to renovate its green spaces, the history of one of its most impressive buildings, or look at its internationally recognized university. For over 20 years, UNO TV has produced award-winning documentaries that explore, educate, and enlighten. To find out more, call 402-554-2516 or visit unotv.unomaha.edu.
UNO Television gives students a chance to work in a real studio. Working on the TV crew, students get hands-on experience with lights, camera, and action. Working on a variety of shows gives students a leg up looking for jobs. In fact, many former crew members work at local stations. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience for students to learn the science and art of TV production. UNO TV, student crew, professional staff, award-winning results.
The destinations for this year's Nebraska Passport Tour have been released. On the tour, participants visit locations around the state, seeing the culture Nebraska has to offer.
The Nebraska Passport Program, which is sponsored by Nebraska Tourism, is a program that is to encourage Nebraskans to get out and travel the state and support their fellow Nebraskans.
Participants visit the 80 different sites on the tour at their leisure.
It's also really interesting to see how they connect with small businesses and how the small businesses across the state of Nebraska, which essentially are the backbone, really knock it out of the park for us.
Florence Mill is one of those businesses.
This blends art and history so nicely.
Founder and director Linda Meggs says her mill has always been a labor of love.
It was a total ruin. It was falling down. It was pink. It was full of 14,000 pounds of fermented grain, dirt, dead animals, and pigeon poop.
The preservation of Nebraska history is what drives Meggs to preserve the mill. She says tearing down our historic buildings is a travesty.
I thought that's really tragic that we do that. And then we go to Europe to visit history, as though we have none.
Sites in Omaha include Crystal Forge, Lewis and Clark Trailhead, Film Streams, and El Museo Latino. Being that spring is just around the corner, the weather in Omaha can be a bit wet and unpredictable, but the Passport program doesn't start until May 1st, so hopefully at that time the weather is a little more preferred. McKillop says last year's Nebraska Passport Tours saw record numbers, and a big turnout is expected again. This year's tour begins on May 1st and ends September 30th. If you've recently been driving in the area of 11th and Jones Street, you may have asked what the Coneco Gallery is working on. Monday morning, the Old Market Gallery broke ground on a new atrium project. The $3.6 million project will add another 5,000 square feet to their current building. The new addition will run down Jones Street and connect 3 buildings. It will also contain Coneco's administrative offices, allowing more space for other purposes. The new atrium addition is expected to be finished in November of this year.
Tornadoes and thunderstorms are replacing blizzards as winter seems to be coming to a close. Douglas and Sarpy counties are starting to prepare for severe weather, and you should be too.
I don't know if I'm at 100 yet, but there's a lot.
Spring season begins on Saturday, and with spring season comes tornado season and tornado chasers.
It's very dangerous. I've been lucky enough to be around quite a few meteorologists who have taught me the ins and outs of storm chasing.
Anderson goes out there to get pictures and information for one main purpose.
Obviously send in reports, severe weather reports to the National Weather Service. That's the main reason we're out there.
Anderson says that he loves what he does, and he does it so that you can stay in your house. But if the situation does arise, whether you're in your car or your house, staying informed is essential. And having your phone is a good way of getting that information, but with the weather, you can't always rely on them. And that's why you may need to take some precautions before severe weather season hits.
That's when this guy's going to come in handy. You got your radio.
Cabela's Camping Outfitters believe that in one stop, you could purchase simple items that could potentially save your life. Keeping things like knives, heavy-duty flashlights, water and extra food, and an emergency battery-powered radio all together in one bag or container is a good idea. Tornadoes and severe storms are common here in Nebraska, and professionals can't say it enough. Be prepared.
Everything's so spread out, and if you get caught on the highway or something and you don't have the essentials, you're going to be in big trouble.
Douglas County started testing the severe storm sirens this month. From now until October, the sirens will be tested at 11 a.m. on the first Wednesday of every month.
That does it for this week's edition of the Omaha News.
From all of us here, thanks for joining us and good night.
The University of Nebraska at Omaha is a place for tomorrow's leaders, a place where individuals converge on a path to success, getting the attention and direction they need as they begin their career. It's where students take pride in serving Omaha, a city we've invested in for more than 100 years. UNO is a place where greatness begins. The University of Nebraska at Omaha.
Watch the Omaha News Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on the Knowledge Network.
When will you look deep into space? When will you travel back in time? When will you experience the power of red? When? Anytime. Online at video.netnebraska.org. Search, select, and share with the NET Video Player. Watch our shows on your schedule.
What if there were a neighborhood where every child felt they belonged, and a big dog helped them stay little a little longer? A monkey helped them find the wonder in every little thing, and a flightless bird showed them how to soar. Support the people and programs that never stop asking, what if?